It was 2:30 in the morning when a piercing beep ripped me out of sleep. My chest tightened, lungs screaming for air as I fumbled in the dark. That wasn't the usual soft hum of my oxygen concentrator keeping me alive. No, this was its emergency alarm, shrieking like a warning siren. Panic clawed at me as I groped along the floor, fingers trembling, searching for the power cord. When I found it, my heart sank. It wasn't just loose. It was unplugged, yanked clean out of the hallway outlet outside my condo door. Gasping, I stumbled into the shared corridor, desperate to reconnect my lifeline. That's when I saw her. Margaret Hensley, HOA president and my next-door neighbor, stood there, arms crossed, her face twisted into a smug grin that sent a chill down my spine. "Some of us are trying to sleep, Tom," she hissed, her voice coated in fake sweetness. "That buzzing racket is driving me up the wall." I could barely breathe, let alone process her words. "You unplugged my oxygen machine," I wheezed, my voice ragged. I could have died. She didn't even blink, just shrugged like I'd complained about a loud TV. "Maybe you should have thought about that before moving into a place with noise rules," she said, turning on her heel like she'd won some petty argument. "My name's Tom Rivera, a 62-year-old Air Force vet battling advanced COPD. Years of jet fuel fumes and desert dust from my CRVYC left my lungs shot. 6 months ago, I moved into Serenity Grove condominiums, a quiet, HOA-run community that seemed like a godsend for someone like me who needed clean air and rest. My oxygen concentrator, prescribed by my doctor, was about the size of a mini fridge and gave off a steady, gentle hum through the night. Most neighbors were angels about it, Mrs. Lopez in Unit 12 even dropped off homemade chili during one of my bad flare-ups. But Margaret? She was a different breed. From day one, she acted like my existence was a personal insult to her perfect little kingdom. Margaret lived right next door, and within a week, she was griping about the annoying mechanical drone ruining her beauty sleep. It started small, like it always does with people like her. I'd find notes slipped under my door, written in her signature green ink, dripping with passive-aggressive venom. The first one read, "Dear new resident, please note that noise after 10 p.m. violates community guidelines. Some of us work and need our rest. Sincerely, Margaret Hensley, HOA president." I tried talking to her, explaining that the machine wasn't some fancy gadget, it was literally keeping me alive. I even showed her my doctor's letter proving it was essential. Her response? She filed a noise complaint with the HOA board, demanding I move the disruptive to VYC or shut it off entirely. When the board thankfully made up of folks with some sense tossed out her complaint, Margaret didn't back down. She doubled down. She started banging on our shared wall at all hours, claiming she was responding to disturbances. The irony was rich. Her pounding was louder than my machine's faint hum ever was. I documented everything. Medical records, decibel readings showing my VYC was well within legal limits. Even statements from neighbors who swore they couldn't hear a thing. I laid it all out at the HOA's monthly meeting, hoping for some backup. But the board just called it a neighbor dispute and told us to sort it out like grown-ups. Big mistake. 3 weeks later, I woke up choking, my machine's cord unplugged again. I thought maybe the cleaning crew had bumped it, but when it happened a second time 2 nights later, I knew it wasn't an accident. I set up a small security camera in the hallway, aimed right at the outlet. What I saw in that footage made my blood boil. There was Margaret, clear as day, sneaking out of her unit at 1:45 a.m., cool as you please, and yanking the plug from the wall. I confronted her the next morning, showing her the VY Deo. Did she apologize? Back off. Nope. She stood in her doorway, decked out in a silk robe and designer slippers, looking at me like I was gum on her shoe. "That machine's a nuisance, Tom," she snapped. "You chose to bring it here, and I have a right to peace in my own home." I was floored. "Margaret, this isn't a choice. This keeps me alive. What you're doing could be attempted murder." She laughed, actually laughed. "Oh, don't be so dramatic. If it's that serious, you'd be in a hospital, not here bothering everyone." That's when it hit me. I wasn't dealing with a reasonable person. Margaret was so drunk on her HOA power trip, she thought she could control everything, even whether I lived or died. That afternoon, I marched to the police station with everything. The footage, my doctor's letter, a detailed log of Margaret's months-long harassment. The desk sergeant, a fellow vet, got angrier with every piece of evidence I showed him. "This is reckless endangerment at minimum," he said, jaw tight. "Messing with life-sustaining equipment is a felony. We're taking this seriously." The investigation kicked into high gear. Cops talked to other residents, and it turned out Margaret had been terrorizing more than just me. She'd bullied an elderly lady over her noisy mobility scooter and slapped a young mom with HOA violations because her baby cried too much. Then they found out she'd been tampering with the building's smoke detectors, pulling out batteries because their chirps annoyed her. The fire marshal got involved, and what started as my fight became a full-blown criminal case. 3 weeks after I showed Margaret the footage, I woke up to heavy footsteps in the hallway. Peering through my peephole, I saw 2 cops and a detective at her door. "Police, open up," they called, their voices all business. Margaret answered, all haughty confidence, probably thinking she'd sweet-talk her way out of it. That smirk vanished when she saw the handcuffs. "Margaret Hensley, you're under arrest for reckless endangerment, interfering with medical equipment, and criminal harassment," the officer said, loud enough for the whole floor to hear. She lost it. "This is outrageous," she screeched as the cuffs clicked on. "I'm the VY Tim. I'm the HOA president. You can't arrest me for enforcing community standards." But the cops weren't buying her act. They'd seen the EVY Denke, talked to her VY Tims, and knew exactly who they were dealing with. As they marched her to the elevator, she kept ranting, insisting she was being persecuted for keeping the peace. Word of her arrest spread through Serenity Grove like wildfire. Neighbors who'd lived in fear of her petty tyranny started sharing their own stories. The woman who'd once fined people over Christmas lights or trash complacement was now facing serious charges for nearly killing me over a noise complaint. The legal fallout was brutal. Margaret was hit with felony reckless endangerment, tampering with medical equipment, harassment, and messing with fire safety systems. Her bail was set at $50,000, and the HOA booted her from her president's throne. In court, the prosecutor laid out how Margaret's obsession with control pushed her to risk my life rather than tolerate a faint hum. The judge didn't hold back, slamming her for showing zero remorse and still playing the VY Tim. She got 3 years in state prison, with a shot at parole after 18 months. On top of that, she had to pay me $25,000 for medical costs and emotional trauma, plus a $10,000 fine to the city for the fire safety violations. As the sentence was read, Margaret's face went pale, her mouth gaping like she couldn't believe her reign was over. Serenity Grove feels different now. Neighbors checking on me, and the new HOA leadership actually cares about people, not power trips. I'm still fighting my COPD, but I'm breathing a little easier knowing justice was served. Margaret thought she could bully her way through life, but she learned the hard way. Actions have consequences. What do you think? Did Margaret deserve her sentence? Or was she just a misguided neighbor pushed too far? Should HOAs have stricter oversight to stop power-hungry types like her? Drop your thoughts below, hit that like button if this story got your blood pumping, and subscribe for more real-life dramas that'll keep you on the edge of your seat.